High spots and cheap pops, you're on the air.
High spots and cheap pops, ladies and gentlemen, we're back after almost a week. In fact, Vladi, I think it's over a week since you and I have conversed about professional wrestling. And what a week and a half we have had. And we're going to start out right now. We're going to talk about The Rock. Yeah, we're going to talk about Seth Rollins. We're going to talk about Cody Rhodes. And, of course, my tribal chief, Vladi's tribal chief, your tribal chief, Roman Reigns, who, quite frankly, was the fourth least interesting character. And now that all four have been laid out, probably the fourth least interesting character involved as we go towards Wrestlemania 40, Vladi, in Philadelphia, my backyard. I will be there, Vladi. I think you might even be there, too, to celebrate the fall of the Roman Empire. And Seth Rollins has started to lay out the groundwork of that happening. Gosh, Vladi, I am super excited about what we're about to see between the four men that I just mentioned: The Rock, Roman Reigns, Cody, and of course Seth Rollins.
Really? I'm shocked. It seems like you hardly thought about this.
No, I'm super excited about it. Well, we start with the press conference, Vladi. You know, last week we were both talking, and I said Cody's walking out of WrestleMania 40 with that title somehow. We didn't know how they were going to get there. I was saying some magic, stupid shit, and they simply had Cody say, "No, I'm picking Roman. Fuck off."
Which is the best thing they could have done. I mean, it was it's what they had to do, and they're just like, you know what, screw it. We're going to pivot right here and do what the fans want. Give us our Daniel Bryan moment without teasing us about it. And they treated us like adults about it. And honestly, that press conference was great. It was a great presentation. And I got to tell you, the whole main event part of it with Roman, Heyman, The Rock, Seth, and Cody especially, when The Rock brought out that family tree, the bloodline, it gave you the basically the lineage there. When I saw that, I'm like, oh man, he's going heel Rock, because he means business if he's bringing a PowerPoint presentation with him.
And by the way, Vlad, I have to admit, 3 of those people on that tree actually have trained me how to wrestle. So kiss my asshole, Marks. I hate calling people Marks. Just come.
You're using their language against you.
Fuck them. But anyway, go ahead. It's amazing. But it really was respectful that Rock did that, and he said, "You will respect it," which was a good pivot point to what happened.
And you know what? Look at what WWE and TKO has done. They've literally said this is the most important family in professional wrestling. Versus, I don't know which one was there before. Just, I don't know, 7 days previous. There was I think they were called the McMahons. That's what I think they went by.
That was the best. Roman Reigns said Dusty Rose was.
That was the best. I thought that was a great zinger by Roman, the way he threw that at him. I didn't expect anything anti-Dusty at that moment, and he just went right for the throat. So I thought it was a great entrance into into WrestleMania season where Cody changed his mind. They haven't even felt the need to explain it, because he was like, I'm going to finish my story, but not at WrestleMania. And he's able to walk it back without any questions. So having Seth out there also, this is something we talked about in pre-production, is sort of the icing on the cake and really ties it up beautifully. So there's a lot of interweaving webs here. And I think it's great.
I don't think anybody saw Seth Rollins being part of this end of story. And I have always had a gripe. And I always had a thing in the back of my head. Cody needs to beat Roman, but the fact that Seth was the one guy who has carried the company more so than anybody, because don't forget, Cody lost a lot of time because of his pectoral injury.
Yeah.
Where Seth Rollins in 3 losses became more beloved by the crowd. He changed his song and he started the chants. And then Seth Rollins became a babyface just because he was such a good wrestler. And he was so good at getting other people over. And the crowd eventually will respond and love you for it. And so Seth did that. But in the process of being this ridiculous, almost stupid, evil man, I don't know what he was going for initially, when he's cackling the entire time and being silly and being dumb and breaking into Edge's house and just being nothing crazy. But what he did in ring at the time was incredible. One of my favorite matches of 2022 was Seth and Edge, I believe. It might have been even 2021, actually, going back. Wow. And then it was 2021. And then Seth couldn't get into WrestleMania. And then, okay, we finally have a guy for you to wrestle at WrestleMania. Vince told him that, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Who?
Yeah, exactly. And then that started an 0-3 stretch he had with Cody, culminating in Hell in the Cell, culminating with Cody doing it with one of the most grotesque injuries in the history of the business. In a main event on a pay-per-view, Cody said, "I belong as a top-tier talent." That's what he did. And Seth said, "I've been a top-tier talent, and I should be one of the 2 or 3 people on top now, because look what I can do. I can make a guy with a torn pec look like Superman." And then the crowd started liking Seth even more and more and more because of the effort he was putting in. And nobody liked the cackle. No one likes, "Look at me, I'm Seth Rollins." No one gives a shit that he dresses like his wife. Nobody. They literally swapped gimmicks in the middle of 2023 somewhere. Not sure what happened. Maybe it was
they looked at each other's closets. They're like, wow, the answer's right in front of us.
There you go. You should be the man, and I'll be who dresses like you. But either way, Seth comes out, and I have so much respect who Seth Rollins is, because damn it, dude, he was the guy, and the guy by the name of Dean Ambrose, I have no idea what happened to him.
Who the hell is that?
He probably started stabbing himself in the face on national television. Anyway,
a lot of people are probably watching that, right?
But you have Dean Ambrose, John Moxley, obviously. You have Seth Rollins, and then you have Roman Reigns. And you have this moment where they created something that will never be recreated again. And all 3 of them became folklore. And then you have one of the greatest heel turns ever, Seth Rollins on the Shield. You have the greatest cash-in, Seth Rollins cashing in on Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns.
Who are these people?
I don't want to demonize. Look, Brock Lesnar didn't kill his family. We shouldn't have given him Chris Benoit status yet. I'm just putting it out there.
And I don't. Then why? What the hell? I don't understand who these people you're talking about.
Exactly. But the fact remains is Seth Rollins has been every bit of WWE and more so than anybody else has been the last decade. He's been incredible. He had a WrestleMania moment against Roman Reigns where Roman was going to beat him. Unfortunately, he got hurt. Triple H had to step in, and that's one of the least memorable WrestleMania main events ever. I know because I fell asleep during it right next to you, and we were cuddling.
Well,
But Seth Rollins was the one piece of this Roman Reigns puzzle of Cody beating that was never tied up, never put a bow on. And we haven't seen a booker pay attention to details like that in a long time. And what does WWE do? Cody can be on his way to face the bloodline. We're going to see Rock and Roman Reigns on Friday. We're going to see Paul Heyman. We're going to see the whole thing. Cody is going to have some massive promo battles with both Roman and even Paul Heyman and The Rock. I mean, think about those 4 people going back at it. Oh, and by the way, we're going to have a Rock Roman promo too. They're not going to be simpatico going 100% going into WrestleMania. More on that, in my opinion, later. But what we have right now is Seth Rollins comes out and tells Cody, there's one man. And I love this moment. He says, what's your plan? And who is the one man on this planet who can plan to beat Roman Reigns? Seth Rollins had a plan against Roman Reigns in Royal Rumble 2022. He said, I'm going to make him snap, and I'm going to make him make a mistake, or he's going to get disqualified and make me the winner. The one man who put a 1 on underneath the L column in Roman Reigns during this historic run has been Seth Rollins. He needs to be part of this. Now, he doesn't have to beat Roman Reigns because he told you what. He has made his title, in his mind, the most dominant title in this industry. He has said he is the champion. He's the man. But Cody needs to finish his story. And now, the anger that Seth has for putting in being the workhorse that he has been, carrying person after person after person through this roster, through injuries, whether it be Edge or Cody Rhodes, Seth has been the man. And he's also the only man to beat Roman. So when he comes out and says he's frustrated because of the way Roman has conducted himself while he's been the better champion, but Roman's still getting the more money, you know Roman's rivalry with Seth is now getting to him. And Seth wants to prove that he's the best champion. And what's one way to do it? A, I'm going to be the one who still has a championship after WrestleMania. And 2, I'm going to be the one man of the Shield who's walking out of WrestleMania with a championship. And 3, I'm going to redeem myself because I'm the reason that Roman is the piece of trash that he is. And also, he's the one man that can pull it off because he's the one man who dropped in a 1 underneath the L. This is one of the most incredible twists to this story you could think. And it's beautiful. Now you're talking like this is almost like one of these big box office movies that we watch and we get lost in. When I start thinking about Seth Rollins being the Han Solo to Luke Skywalker, which is Cody Rhodes.
And you know what? To add on to your Han Solo analogy, I think Sami Zayn would make for a great Chewbacca.
Yeah, I don't know if you watch Star Wars. So, and I'm sorry to go on so much, but this to me is a game changer in what the end of the end. This is the beginning of the end of the Roman Empire. And it ends with The Rock being the cause of the bloodline breaking up as we know it. And we're looking at The Rock and Roman main eventing WrestleMania 41. And what do? I don't know how we get there. I don't know if we get there via the WrestleMania 14 finish, where The Rock would essentially be Mike Tyson. Or is there a moment where The Rock says to Roman, you have to win this on your own? Solo comes down and The Rock says, no, he's got to do it on his own. And Solo walks away saying that Roman was never really the real head of the table, was he? There's a lot of ways they can go about it, but the fact that Seth Rollins will be one of the people sticking the dagger into the throat of the Roman Empire as we know it is a beautiful thing. And I have never been more confident that Roman Reigns is going to lose his championship come WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia, the place he got booed in 2015 when his very own cousin, The Rock, was holding his hand up high. We know Roman Reigns has memories in Philadelphia. It will be a house of horrors once again, and we know the end of the Roman Empire comes to fruition, and Paul Heyman will go be an advocate. I heard that Braun Breaker needs one, but that's how I feel about that. Seth Rollins being part of this is the most appropriate, best thing I've seen because he is the only one to be able to say he did that, and he's always been able to beat Roman in big spots. Left and right, his first championships off of Roman, his first match back to beat Roman when he was going for the spear, hit him with the pedigree. Seth Rollins owns Roman, always has, and until further recourse, always will. And Roman knows that, and so Seth now is the shield for Cody Rhodes. It is absolutely freaking brilliant, one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen. And if this is the end of the Roman Empire, this has been brilliantly done, and that's why The Rock said, wait, because I think The Rock is turning babyface at WrestleMania because he wants Roman to earn it. A couple of throwbacks, man. This is the end. I think Triple H is they're so good, these minds. You have Triple H and Paul Heyman working together, for Christ's sake. Vladi, there's going to be, you're right. But there might be a couple of throwbacks.
Yeah, they're gonna have an allegiance, almost like the Avengers fighting the bloodline.
The only person missing is going to be the Finn Balor demon, who had God hate him so much, where he pulled the ropes from him.
I forget who booked that match, but they probably don't exist any longer.
Was it Brock Lesnar or was it Chris Benoit? I forget.
See, again, these names, they escape me. But yeah, like getting to what is going on and what we have approaching WrestleMania. Do you think Rock wrestles at all during WrestleMania weekend? I'm sorry.
There's two things I'm thinking. One of them is that you're going to see a tag team match on that might even headline night one. Might be Rock, Roman, Seth, and Cody night one.
And there's a stipulation.
And what's your stipulation, Vlad?
Rock, maybe two special referees, Triple H and Rock. I think they might do something like that. I really, and honestly, you know what? There's a lot of things that are going to happen in that match because we all know there's going to be interference from the bloodline. And it's all about how The Rock reacts to it. And furthermore, what's the reason he does it? You're saying he's going to go and become face, but if he does it in a certain way, he might become more of a heel and make Roman the sympathetic sort of figure.
I don't know. I think The Rock wants to be president in a couple of years, so he's probably going to want
to. I don't think they're going to be booking this in accordance to his electoral thing.
I don't think so either. But no, I think Roman's the scumbag right now. By the way, did you notice one thing?
But
who's been the most irrelevant of conversation since that press conference? It's been Roman.
Right. He's the second fiddle. So it's like, to even him be called the scumbag, what we saw in front of us in that press conference was an allegiance was born through, these two grandfathers that had a blood oath together. So basically this is overruling all, but even though Roman's, the head of the table, The Rock still has yet to claim what exactly he is. And if he goes full corporate Rock and starts playing God, and you saw it in Seth Rollins' promo Monday, he's annoyed. He doesn't like the fact that this is rising. Yeah, I think you're going to see that tag team match headline because Triple H also made mention to how WrestleMania 1 had a tag team main event. So they can actually provide that to us.
Yeah. By the way, when he said that, you love when Roddy Piper got the best reaction out of all four people in that main event.
Oh, yeah.
That was beautiful. But yeah, you can have that, or do you have Seth Rollins? Because Seth also, by the way, is going to have a championship match that night against somebody who either LA Knight, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre. See if I can now Kevin Owens, Logan Paul, or Bobby Lashley. I am assuming on the Logan Paul, Kevin Owens in terms of who they're fighting. I can't see Dominic Mysterio being this, nor can I see whoever's fighting Logan Paul. I forget who it was. So this Elimination Chamber is stacked. So Seth is going to have that. Now, you think Drew McIntyre is going to be the winner of this Elimination Chamber, which is a great pick. I'm wondering now, with some of the things that happened with Sami Zayn, if Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn aren't headed for a WrestleMania match. And also, I'm wondering, AJ Styles needs to get even with LA Knight somehow. If that's not going to be a WrestleMania match, which would disappoint me because I really wanted LA Knight to face Logan Paul for the United States Championship. But what we can have is Seth still can get beat up and hurt, and he was going to be the one shield of Cody, and then Cody's not going to have that shield going into that match with Roman. And then and then maybe The Rock is actually in Roman's corner. And then The Rock stops members of the bloodline to come in to help him because Roman needs to do it on his own accord if he wants to be the real head of the table. That could happen too. But we'll see.
You're saying in the main event night too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Where Rollins might not be able to compete because he already had it. This is the problem. If you have the tag team match, when does Rollins defend his title? It would have to be the night of Cody and Roman defending their title. Or Cody and Roman.
He can open it up. He can open up the next night.
He could 100%, but that's where, and you even know, but even the cooler part, maybe whoever he wins. I think Seth Rollins might be going out as champion at a WrestleMania.
Oh yeah.
Now at this point, if he's going to be part of that, and he's maybe get Cody's corner.
Yeah. You're gonna have
There's also
you're gonna
a
have
theory. Oh God.
You're gonna have two babyface champions, I think. And it's gonna be Seth and Cody who work together to go and basically burn down the Roman Empire with, The Rock is going to be involved in some level for sure.
And then you set up next year with Roman and Rock.
Yeah, exactly. So that splits off the bloodline story to be more internal, but they'll be involved otherwise with, like the Jimmys, the Solos, and maybe Jacob Fatu will be involved here too.
Never know. You never know. But I just love the fact that Seth Rollins is a big part of this, because that's what was needed to put a bow. And that's why I think we know we're getting a bow at WrestleMania 40 if Seth Rollins is throwing his hat in there, because that was the one loose end we have. Real loose end. You could say, well, what about Finn Balor? Who cares? He's the third or fourth most relevant member of maybe a B+ faction at best. So I don't want to hear any crap. Tell me when I'm telling lies, Vladi. Or not.
I don't think you were telling lies. So what would you want me to tell you?
Well, it just was awkward. It was silence. Well, now it's more.
I was embracing your smugness. So I was like, that's good. That's good stuff. So, you interrupted me embracing that. So now I'm annoyed at you.
Well, if you want to talk CM Punk, get more annoyed with me. No, I'm just joking.
And tell me how great he was during the conference.
Oh, I thought he was one of my favorite parts about it.
Dude, he was awesome. That's that's his wheelhouse, man. He's awesome at that.
And behind the microphone is his wheelhouse. 100%. It's definitely not in the ring.
I give you, and then I take it away, CM Punk. Not that I think of you ever.
I didn't think about him too much last week. Not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, because you're enjoying pleasuring yourself to DM Hunk.
He's been great too. How good has Drew McIntyre been?
He's awesome.
He's so good. He's so good. He even he even warns people, like, leave me alone. Don't fuck with me, or I'm gonna beat you up. And so people fuck with him, and then he goes beats him up, and then he's like, I told you I was gonna do it. What the hell? You're blaming me now. Keep your name out of my mouth. We'll be fine.
It's your fault.
Cody. All Cody had to do is tell everybody he was picking Roman in that moment. And Drew was like, come on, Cody, you have to finish your story. He was passionate. He really wants Cody to finish the story. I have never been more moved by anybody since perhaps Steve Guttenberg in Police Academy 3.
Wow.
Which is incredible.
I mean, some people want to went to Nero and like Deer Hunter, or
I don't like violence. I like deers too. Why would I want to see deers getting killed?
Yeah, it's not Bambi. It's more of a movie about the Vietnam War, but that's for another conversation in another place. But yeah, Steve Guttenberg. Yeah.
Well, I had to make it a shitty actor for the joke to play, right? I couldn't say De Niro.
Really that shitty. Still got work. He's still making an impact. People love Steve Guttenberg.
Police Academy 3 is the worst of the first 4. Easily. And the first 4 are the only ones with Steve Guttenberg. Those are the only ones that really count to most people's lives.
Yeah. When he drops out of the franchise, you don't keep on counting.
No, you stop. I mean, they had Police Academy, Tackleberry gets his balls cut. It's weird. But moving on, Vladi Dottie, to some other things in the wrestling business. We have a situation with Tony Khan. You sent me a quote earlier today.
Yeah, I have the quote right here, so we can just talk apples to apples. quote unquote, I think right now is the best AEW has been. In quarter one, 2024, going into Revolution, it's an exciting time for the wrestling business. That's sort of a broad stroke he took there. I mean, WWE's going gangbusters. Is he including them?
It's smart. No, that's exactly what he was including. But there's a lot of things that happen around WrestleMania, so I get that. Yeah. He's definitely coattailing, though, if anyone's wondering.
Yeah. He's dragging behind him a little bit. And there are a lot of crazy things happening. Yeah, I would agree with that statement. And it's a really important time in wrestling for a variety of reasons. Some things outside of wrestling that are bigger than wrestling. But for us, we're doing the best wrestling we've ever done in AEW right now. And that was Tony Khan via something called the Sports Grid. So, yeah, when I read that, especially that last statement, that's a very bold statement to me because you and I pretty much watched AEW in its entirety from its inception. And right now, especially with Max being out, whatever you want to label the Undisputed Kingdom and what's going on there, and other random things I could just throw at you right now, I don't really associate what's going on right now as like, wow, this is a great era in AEW. I think we're far from it. There are some bright spots, but we're still far from it overall. So I think Tony was sort of talking out of his ass a little bit there, tying a nice bow on his product. And honestly, there's a situation going on where you're going to have a conglomerate of streaming services and basically come into one as a sports service. And I believe it's ESPN, Time Warner. And there's another company that are all basically joining, and it's going to be mainly focused on sports. Well, you know what? That to me is a great sign for Tony, all things considered. If he can get on there and become part of the actual streaming service, the library is something now that they have, how many years? Almost 6 years now?
No, over 5, yeah. We're 5
years. So 5 years worth of a library. Plus, if they actually go and include the pay-per-views in the streaming service, they will get many more eyes on this product.
They also have Ring of Honor rights as well.
Bingo, more to the library. So it makes all the sense to land on this. But for Tony to go and say, hey, this is the best we've ever been, I call bullshit.
It's not, but this is the reality, is that he has made a conscious effort to make professional wrestling in-ring stuff be very important. And he's made an effort to make people who aren't household names try to put spotlight on him. I feel like he's the do-gooder. And he's trying to do the best he can to make the people he likes happy and the people who think are good people happy. Sky Blue's on TV every week. I still don't know why she turned heel other than she got shit sprayed in her face. Right? We see Daniel Garcia. Oh, he's super over. He's super amazing. Is he?
Not really.
I don't think so. I really don't. And I had someone argue with me today. AEW fans think he is the next Shawn Michaels.
No.
Or the next Bret Hart. I don't know what they think of this kid. I don't see it.
No.
He puts on bangers. Every wrestler on national television at one point or another has put on a banger. And there are a lot of people who can put on bangers every time they go out there. And certainly better than Daniel Garcia. So I don't get why he's so popular. The irony of this whole thing, Vladi, about Daniel Garcia, and I'm going to pick on Daniel Garcia real quick. Oh, we don't really care about sports entertaining. We don't like entertainment. We want in-ring performing. No one gave a flying shit about Daniel Garcia until he started dancing.
Right.
Period. No matter if he was in a match with Bryan Danielson or whatever, until he started that dance, the crowd did not react. You can say he was great and all the matches he had was all cute. Nobody reacted until he started this, whatever the fuck that is. Like he's Jersey Shore. Okay, cool.
He has personality, you see. He's a dancer.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand that aspect But he loves Daniel Garcia.
So did these same people love Fandango? I must ask.
They probably hated. They hated.
That's
Fandango.
the thing.
Yeah.
Right. So here you go.
Daniel Garcia is a better wrestler than Fandango, isn't he?
And Prince Nana, to me, gets the pass because he's a wrestler. He's a manager. When I see Swerve and Nana come out, this is what I see. I see it's like almost like what you call it, Flavor Flav and Chuck D. You know, and that's where I'm like, wow, okay, there's a presence here with Swerve just being like the calm of this crazy storm. And I actually hope Nana doesn't turn on him. I know you mentioned it, and you can kind of see the writing on the wall, but I hope they don't. I kind of like him being there, especially with Swerve being a babyface. But I digress. I'm just throwing out there, you know, it's what I kind of hope happens.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day here, AEW has a lot of matches on Collision, even Dynamite now, and certainly Rampage, where they're inconsequential. It's a mid-carder, top mid-carder, main eventer against someone who is a lower mid-card or even an indie guy who no one ever heard of, or maybe some guy from Mexico we never heard of, or maybe from Japan, like an Ishii, a good mid-card Japan wrestler. And that's who Ishii is. He's not a main eventer. If anyone knows anything about New Japan Pro Wrestling, Ishii is a mid-carder. And he's been so for 99% of his career. So that's who you want to bring in. Mid-carders from other countries that people don't know. Okay. And they lose. They have great awesome matches, just like Suzuki. He comes in. Suzuki is like 0-97 against great wrestlers because he's a mid-carder in New Japan. You bring in, and only people who know about New Japan knows who he is and feels the mystique. And you know what? If they don't, they change the fucking channel because they don't understand how a 195-pound, 55-year-old Japanese man can compete with a 29-year-old, 250-pounder who can kill him. Because they don't know the mystique behind this man. And I'm sorry, only 10 or 15 minutes every 3 months doesn't tell you who Minoru Suzuki is. I get New Japan. I watch New Japan. I understand. But I also understand someone who's never watched New Japan, why is Minoru Suzuki going 20 minutes with Will Hobbs? Or Bryan Danielson even? Why? It makes no sense to us because we don't know who he is. And so that's the reality. We see our favorite guys who we think are awesome struggling to beat people we never heard of, or people I don't know that well, or people who are mid to low mid-carders. You're elevating these people and you're making your top stars look like bitches. And not only that, the top stars always win. So you're at the end of the day, the little mid-carders still lost. They're not getting better. Your guys are getting weaker. And the big thing is all of these matches, big word, are inconsequential. They are inconsequential. They don't have any repercussions. Eddie Kingston beating Ishii, especially if there's no title on the line, means nothing. It's just the way it is. Yep. And you have that. Or maybe it's this new guy. He's a bounty hunter. He's a bounty hunter. From the Old West. Looks like an extra from Django. Okay.
Might have been the inspiration.
I'm sure it was. But the reality is, why is he going 20 minutes with one of your top stars? I never heard of this guy. Oh, well, you're just a stupid mark and you only like popular. No, dude. I want to care about the matches. And every time one of these jerk-offs show up on TV that I never heard of, they lose. They always put up the best little fight. They always do everything they can to win. Oh, they always tap out or get pinned every single time, except for Action Andretti. And how did that work out?
He's over like Rover.
Nobody gives a shit about him either, Vladi. So That's the problem with the booking that he's gone with the last 5 weeks. That's the problem. The matches don't mean jack shit, and I don't care about people grinding their teeth when they're 15-year veterans on national television. I want to care about why they're fighting. And if I don't care, I don't watch. And congratulations for AEW for pulling 400,000 people, 405,000 people on Saturday night. Big win. It's 40% higher than the week before. That's like me saying, hey, I only lost $4,000 this week. Last week, I lost $16,000. The product is becoming, other than the sycophants who will love them no matter what, who will scream and yell about WWE being too much entertainment and too much based in bullshit, yet still scream when some 145-pound man puts his hands in his pockets. Those people, the gatekeepers of AEW, who call everyone a stupid mark who's there, says anything against them, those are the people who are going to continue to keep that glass ceiling on that company from ever being anything but a speck of dust on WWE. Oh, the best wrestling's in AEW. The very best wrestling. When AEW is at their best, mano to mano, it's better than a Roman Reigns match. Okay, 100%. But jerk off from the indies I never heard of versus some luchador who botches every time he goes off the ropes is not as good as anything the New Day or Imperium are going to do. Okay? That's your mid-card. My mid-card, if I'm a WWE fan or if I'm watching WWE, the mid-card, the matches in between the big stars being there, they make sense. It's Gunther.
That's the name I was going to say.
Gunther. Gunther's doing some incredible shit. There's nobody on AEW's roster that is good as Gunther is right now. Nobody. Except for Bryan Danielson when he's wrestling in New Japan.
Oh.
Or Kenny Omega when he's wrestling in New Japan when he was healthy. Or Jon Moxley when he's wrestling in New Japan. No. So I'm sorry, folks. That's the reality. Tony Khan is making a conscious decision to make this a sports-based thing where the wrestling is a big part. You know why? Because he doesn't have to, he has no responsibility in that. Oh, I'm really good. Let me put Queen Mamanata versus whoever's going to beat her this week. This woman has been on TV for 2 months and she's gotten beaten every single time. And I'm supposed to think she's good. And by the way, I never heard of her prior, and everyone struggles to beat her. Who is benefiting from that booking? It makes no sense. Use your brain. And that's why. Oh, by the way, Vladi, they sold 5,000 tickets for the show that they literally announced Sasha Banks was going to be there on without announcing her. And that's a flex. You sold 5,000 tickets. I remember when the EVPs of this company and the future face of WWE for the next 2 months said, we're going to put 10,000 butts in seats. 5,000 is a flex now. That's your flex. And you want to compete with WWE. The other thing about that is your crowd's not loud. Half the crowds in AEW don't give a crap. Yeah, the Young Bucks screaming and doing everything that they can, banging chairs and doing whatever they can, and some rando comes out you think is going to get a big pop, and no one's like, the crowds aren't loud either in AEW like they were 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. Go back and watch AEW Dynamite 3 years ago. The crowd, it's palpable how much louder they were. I'm an AEW fan. I'm not trying to be a dick here. All you gotta
no dick detected.
And that's the way I feel. So Tony can say that all he wants. He is shying from his responsibilities of being an actual booker. So get someone in there who won't. And I hope Scott D'Amore is available, and I hope they bring him in, because maybe he can be a shining part of what Tony can do. And separate.
I saw something that they added like Ricky Romero to the office or something. I didn't know what you thought. I don't really know his background. I figured you would know best. I don't know if you're impressed with that or not.
No.
Probably not. Okay. No. All right. I don't know.
I'm not impressed with that. Lock to Ricky Romero, dude. He helped Guido out in New Japan, and he's worked on Ring of Honor stuff.
He's a connection to New Japan, is the way I took it.
Yeah, so what? You don't have enough connections with New Japan? Rocky Romero is not changing the way that shit's booked. Think Rocky Romero is gonna tell Tony, look, you can't have Chris Jericho shoot fog to everybody tonight, or you can't have, you know what I mean? Like, that was a Fozzy show, not. I don't think the Rocky Romero thing's a big deal at all, Vladi. I don't know.
Okay.
But
I'm just wondering.
He's smart and he's a good dude, but he's not a game changer by any stretch.
Okay. So, yeah, but like
he needs a game changer. Tony needs a game changer in there.
Yeah.
He needs a William Regal. Or he needs a Bryan Danielson with balls. Which does that exist? I don't know. He definitely doesn't need Matt and Nick Cassie, which is their real names.
Which brings us to that. What are your thoughts on that?
I actually love this is the most interesting they've been in 3 years. So good job, guys. Way to be relevant. Good job, Young Bucks. Let's see if you can keep it up. Let's see if you can do it for more than a couple of weeks. Because you haven't been very good lately, have you? No, you've been garbage for 2.5 years. So, honestly, Vladi, I'm on fire right now. I'm pissed off. Vladi, I actually like what they did. Now, I don't like what they did in terms of whatever. I think they could have been done a lot better. But I like that they are jerk-offs. And I like that they went a lot more vicious than you would think. And I like that they attacked Sting in the way they did because it gets me to care. And I hope at the end of this, there's a blood war between FTR and the Young Bucks. We have wanted it and needed it for 4 years now. Give us the blood feud. With the Bucks going over at the end, of course, because they are EVPs.
Yeah,
but I think it's interesting.
A mile away.
I think it's better than what they've been doing. I'll say that for.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I like the whole symbolism when they had the weight suits and they just get bloodied up. Of course, it's almost like a scene out of American Psycho. I think they even did a match in those suits, anyways. Afterwards,
yeah, on Friday.
So
They try to tell the story that it's that the show's on Friday, and then they wear the same suit like an hour later, like in real time. So, I don't know.
a little continuity issues there.
Again, details, which we talked about earlier in the show with Triple H and WWE, and then we talk about those douchebags.
Yeah, and then the details are totally missing the equation there. So, but yeah, I'm with you. Like, I want to see where they go from here with this. How does FTR fit in? Trying to keep an open mind because I said, hey, this is exactly what they should have done. I said that a few weeks ago where they proclaimed, them coming back as EVPs, and it seemed like they're going to be swarmy bitches about it too. So, but they're going to still need a heater or something, man. I don't know who's going to be a part of that. I don't know if it's a hangman situation, which I kind of hope not, but.
Well, not to be a dick, wouldn't it be a lot cooler if they were the tag team in Adam Cole's little faction right now? Wouldn't it make a lot more sense about them, that other team, that faction that apparently is going to be a big deal, the Undisputed Era 3.0? Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it be cooler if Wardlow was their heater? And Adam Cole's their boy coming back since Kenny's might retire?
Right. And that's the thing. And so they're propping him up even though he's coming out there in a wheelchair and pissing and moaning about Chuck from Best Friends being injured.
That was. I don't even get into it. That was so stupid.
Right.
I just can't. Look. Undisputed Era has never been that good, folks. They ran a developmental company. Period. Great. They've never been great. Nobody outside of Adam Cole has ever been a game changer in their careers. Ring of Honor. Sorry. You can get over. Matt Taven was a fucking Ring of Honor world champion. The guy's, I honestly, up until a couple weeks ago, couldn't tell the difference between him and Solo from QT Marshall's faction.
Yeah.
Like they look the same. The same guy. They wrestle the same. It's dorky. I'm done. I don't know if they wrestle the same. That's a lot. But it just, you know, like the Undisputed Era, you can tell they're going to try to make them this like ridiculous faction, and it just. There's been 17 factions in the history of AEW that blow these jerk-offs away. And so, to your point, yeah, it would be great to have a heater. It'd be great if it was Wardlow, and it would be great if Adam Cole was part of that equation. That you couldn't want a more... You couldn't want a better faction. You really couldn't in terms of badness. If you have, or in terms of evil, shitty factions, you got your big heater, you got your number one guy in Adam Cole, you got your number one tag team. There you go. And they have the corporate stroke. That writes itself. But they didn't go that way. They had Undisputed 3.0. Great.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the way they should have went. They could even got Adam Cole like an all-white wheelchair and wheeled him out there after they kicked the shit out of Sting. I gotta say this, man. It was good to see Sting win a title in this federation. I really wish he had won one sooner. And I know they say, oh, he didn't want to do it, he didn't want to do it. But again, Sting, what's best for business and what's best for your legacy here, what's best for the company, blah, blah, blah. And again, you know, Tony's like, okay, Sting, you don't have to win it. Okay, Brian, you don't have to win it. You know, seriously, have them win it.
By the way, speaking of Brian, and you're right, Brian Danielson and Sting, congratulations to Sting too, but it's long overdue.
Yeah.
He and Darby, we talked about it maybe a year ago. He and Darby should have been vying for the tag team titles, certainly before Big Bill and Ricky Starks, which put a big zero of complete, ridiculously unwarranted and unneeded title reign that did nothing for either man, except put a little like thing on their resume. Oh, tag team champion now. And they're both super talented, by the way. It's not their fault.
I would go as far as saying even Darby and Sting, even before Keith Lee and Swerve.
100%. Those were shoehorned. Big Bill, Ricky Starks, and Keith Lee and Swerve were shoehorned. You build this whole thing up with Sting and Darby. No, they should have won these tag titles 3-4 months ago. And they should have had these matches of them defending the title, and then is Sting going to retire as champion or not? So no, again, it's shoehorned. As you said, Vladi, one of the best things you ever said in a text. Tony doesn't book with a pencil, he books with a shoehorn. Great line. Phenomenal line.
Thank you.
And Bryan Danielson should have had a run on top by now.
Yeah.
And he should have had 2 or 3 or 4 pay-per-views he headlined as world champion because he's that good in the ring. They never did that. They never did it. And they never put a title on a lot of guys. And they've squandered a lot of guys that could have made them a lot more money than they did. But great.
Yeah.
Sky Blues dressing up like Maleficent from fucking
Disney.
Ooh, look at her. She has a little... Ooh.
And Julia Hart won't even tell us what happened there. It's so secretive, those dark goth chicks.
Neither one of them a goth either, by the way. Shoot. Oh, I get sprayed in the eyes. So did like 300 other people, but you're the only 2 assholes that turn heel. What's the reason? It's the reason jerk-offs.
They got converted somehow.
How come you were the only 2 assholes? You get sprayed, you turn heels. Julia Hart. Yeah. I want Julia Hart and Sky Blue to tell me why you're the only 2 assholes who got sprayed with that stuff that turned heel. Why are you the 2 ones?
You know who that's a great question for? It's Tony Khan. I'd love to see him explain that.
I want Tony Khan to explain a lot of things. It was pretty funny. All right, folks. Thank you for listening here on Spotify. If you're on YouTube, thank you so much. If you're a new subscriber, thank you so much. For Vladi, this is Silicon Sea Valley. For High Spots and Cheap Pops, the very best in professional wrestling talk on the internet. That's who we are, and we will continue to be. So, for Vladi, this is Silicon Sea Valley. From High Spots and Cheap Pops, here ended the lesson.